Bad boy.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? You have tuned in live to the Flyest Sports and Entertainment Podcast in all the land. This is Stat Lines Matter. I am your host, as always, Mark E. Stewart, here with my partner in crime, Mr. Rob Hunter Jr.
What's up?
What's up, my boy?
Hey, man, it's another lovely day in the gas price America, over $4.
I see that. You had a birthday with one of your sons this week.
Yeah, Levi turned 7. Yeah.
How did you guys do anything? Did y'all have a big shindig, to do?
We had a party, an Encanto party.
What's that?
It's a Disney film, basically.
You could tell my kids is grown.
Hispanic themed, if you will, characters in there. It's a really actually good movie, good soundtrack too. For those of you who have seen it, y'all know about the Bruno record. It's crazy. And we sing it around the house like it's.
When you say you had an Encanto, what is it called?
The movie's called Encanto.
They're like, y'all dress up like the characters? Like,
Nah. We had the party at the movie theater, which was like, it's an old movie, but they don't have dollar movies anymore, I don't think. So it's a $3 movie.
Okay.
So we ended up doing that, and the theme of the party was actually I don't know why we went to see Encanto, but it was video games, PS5 theme. So the cake was like a PS5.
Oh, cool.
And the balloons and all that stuff.
Man, y'all be going out. Y'all be going up for the birthdays.
Well, I mean, okay, so full disclosure, like that's something that my wife is on because they always went overboard. I don't know if overboard is the right word, but they celebrated her birthday very big.
Right.
Whereas my birthdays were more financially strapped birthdays. Yeah. So I always just kind of act like my birthday wasn't a big deal in order to make sure that the gifts that I got, I appreciated and
matched your expectations. I
didn't want to set an expectation for my so whatever I got, I was appreciative of with her, and I think maybe with daughters, they you may want to have a big shindig. I don't know, but the point is though, she's literally planned every single birthday party, and I just show up. So, but yeah, we had that, and we had a bunch of kids that I didn't even know. We had one group of kids, they ain't even speak English. So they knew the Encanto movie. Pretty good.
In the language, in the original.
Yeah.
So is the language, is Spanish language?
I mean, they parts of it, but it's English. It's English. But yeah, they like I asked a little kid how old he was. The sister was like, años. And
años.
Yeah, años, and then he answered in English, 6 years old. So anyway, point is, it was cool, man.
So clearly you didn't have final say so on the guest list.
Nah. Well, and then my other son, like I was only there for like an hour and a half because my oldest was at a basketball camp. So I was going back and forth between that. I literally went from the camp to the party, back to the camp.
Okay.
And to the crib. So, Levi is 7 years old. And
I grew up, both my brothers, me and my older brother share a birthday. And my younger brother 6 days before. And our birthdays are all right after Christmas.
Have y'all ever done a party together? Like one, or did your mother ever try to be, frugal?
Two times. Well, the thing is, it was right after my birthday's 2 weeks after Christmas, so we never really had the big thing. What my grandmother used to do, because we have a lot of January, December birthdays.
Okay.
And my grandmother, who actually had her heavenly birthday on March 9th, used to cook a big dinner for all of the grandkids and have a cake, one of them sheet cakes. That you get from the market.
Yeah.
And that was the birthday. Like, that's how we spent our birthday.
One candle.
One year, my mom tried to throw a surprise birthday party for me and Lainey, but I don't like surprises, so I foiled it. And
why would you foil it?
I don't like, because I was like, man, people taking me weird places, trying to occupy. I was like, y'all trying to do something. You know me,
Yeah, but why would you do? They're trying to do something nice.
Yeah, I don't like surprises.
But it's not a surprise if you know what's going on. You just play along.
Just tell me. No, just tell me.
You just play along.
No, just tell me. I don't play along.
So how old were you when you ruined your mother's plans to try to do something nice and benevolent?
Maybe
and
I was
loving?
like 19 or 20.
Oh, that even makes it worse.
Nah,
what are you doing?
I don't want. Don't surprise me.
A perpetual wet blanket.
No, don't ever surprise me. Don't ever surprise me. The only surprises I want is the shit that I already want.
You didn't want a party?
No.
So what did you want at 19?
No, I'm saying in general.
No party.
if you're going to surprise me, be like, oh, I surprised you with floor seats to the Lakers. Like, surprise me like that. Or I surprised you with a trip to Turks at the hotel that I stay at, in the suite that I like.
At the hotel in the suite that I stay at all the time.
Yeah, just surprise me with shit that you know I want.
Oh my gosh, that's like whoever's hearing this is like, yeah, I would like a surprise like that. All
well, I'm just saying, I'm giving
like,
you
the hotel I like,
surprise me
with the butler service that I like,
surprise
with the
me
window
with the things that you know are already pre-cleared,
and the turn down service that I like.
That's all I'm saying. And then, but as a result, I probably didn't make a big enough deal out of my kids' birthdays.
Oh, well, I see that type of thing, man. I just go off of her because I really don't know how. Okay, I tell you what I did do, and I know we've already had this discussion. I always make a big deal at Christmas. Mm-hmm. I go. Well, everybody thinks I go overboard, but I'm just trying to create great memories. Yeah. So, because my Christmases, some of them were a little rough.
Birthdays was the worst day.
Man, now we ship champagne. Well, and anyway, so that's what I do. I do take the lead on Christmas because I want to make sure that, and it's gotten progressively a little harder as they've gotten older because the gifts get more and more expensive. When they're little, you can get like 80 Hot Wheels cars.
Right.
One time I took the Hot Wheels cars, and when they got up in the morning, I had placed one on each step as they went down to the tree.
Oh, okay.
So I've done the.
I'm gonna be honest. Even 5-year-old me would have been unimpressed with that.
No, they was hype. And then
the 5-year-old version of me would have been like,
leading to the presents.
I'd have been like, I'm gonna trip on this. This is a hazard.
Nah, you're not, because you're gonna be looking at. Oh, here's one. This is the green one. This is a Corvette.
I never like Hot Wheels like that.
Oh, this is a Batman
one. I like
one.
Sports stuff. Like
then I would have had that on there. Like whatever.
But then I would have expected that at a different time. That's not like a Christmas present. That's like I just need that.
Nah, I would. Hey, look.
I was a tough kid to raise.
I'd have figured it out.
I gotta be honest. I was tough on my mom, man. Shout out to my mom. My mom was amazing. Anyway, I wanna do a little bit of housekeeping here real quick. On our last episode,
I had so much more to say.
I know we got to move on because the time is getting away from us. We'll do a whole show on birthdays and Christmas. I want to do a little bit of cleanup. On our last show, we had two errors that I want to clear up. We called the soon-to-be second-year running back on the Denver Broncos, Javonte Williams. Green. We mistakenly called him Javonte Green.
It's Javonte Williams.
And it was Javonte Williams. Okay. And Javonte Green, as you may or may not know, is the undersized power forward for the Bulls from Radford University. Go Highlanders. Radford in Virginia. He's from Virginia, and that is
so Virginia the two guard at Wheeler just committed to Radford.
Oh, okay. So he's going to Virginia. So and then we mistakenly said that Russell Wilson had a thumb injury when it was a finger injury, middle finger. And these things were pointed out by Mike's Place on YouTube and by Marvelous Williams. So I want to shout out to both Mike's Place and Marvelous Williams for recognizing that not only stat lines matter, but people's names and injuries matter too. So thank you for the catch and appreciate y'all watching.
And look, anytime we mess up, we are not above reproach. So
fact check us.
Unfortunately, like PTI, we don't have a stat guy at the end letting us know where we messed up.
We're the stat guys.
Yeah, we do
our own
exactly.
research and all of that stuff.
But normally when I'm wrong, my partner calls me like 3 hours later, like, you messed up on this, that, and that's that. You shouldn't have done it. And I'm like, God damn. Hey,
well,
man.
It's usually just a phone call, but this time we got called out publicly, so I had to address it.
Well, we appreciate it. We
appreciate y'all.
We and that's not going to be the last.
And thank y'all for, just appreciate y'all like watching long enough.
Yeah, to
realize, because you deep all in the crevices.
Javonte Green and Williams.
Yeah, Javonte.
Hey,
Williams.
His name Javonte, and he played for Denver.
And that's all you need to know.
You know who he was talking about.
Yeah, you knew who we meant.
That.
But they was like,
we know he went to North Carolina.
Exactly. We said that.
Was it Michael Carter? Other? Yeah, he played for the Jets.
Yeah.
Don't act like Sam Howell's the quarterback.
Sam Howell, he's coming out this year.
Okay.
About 4th or 5th round.
Don't act like Jazz Newsome with the receivers.
Yeah.
So don't act like I know with Mac Brown, the coach. Who the coach before Mac Brown?
Bears.
He did. Last year, right? He drafted last year. Yeah. And then they got another receiver that's finally coming out this year. I forgot his name though. Anyway, sorry.
Anywho, so I wanted to
Daz Band.
I wanted to get that going. I want to talk a little bit about we've been seeing this huge. I don't know what's gotten into the water or whatever, but some guys are putting up some huge numbers, scoring.
You know what I think's happened? I thought about that. Not to interrupt you, but
some teams are quitting.
But do you remember? Back on the Lakers versus Celtics doc, where the Magic said that he would look at the newspaper and see what Larry had done and vice versa. And they would try to one up one another. Yeah. And I think I was thinking that could be a little bit about what's going on. They see, okay, LeBron did this, and then KD comes out and he does that, and then Kyrie doesn't want to be left out of the party. So I, at least in my own my own kid's mind.
No, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you because LeBron was live tweeting Kyrie's performance.
As well he should have been.
Yeah, that was I don't know very many people who were watching a Brooklyn Nets Orlando Magic.
LeBron tries to watch all the games.
No, he's a weirdo. Like he's like us. Yeah. Like he's watching sports like we watch sports. And he plays sports. Yeah, the difference is he's in the game.
He's creating the sports. Yeah. He's creating the headlines, yeah.
But last night was unbelievable performance by Kyrie. He dropped 60 points in 36 minutes.
Yeah.
36 minutes of play. I want to say 19 to 31 shooting, 8 or 12 from 3. Just like efficient, kind of getting it at all 3 levels, hitting the 3 ball, going to the rack, making some unbelievable, playing through contact, and ones, mid-range. He dumped the bag of stuff that he does all on Orlando's head. And this is coming off of, so 2 things interesting happened. So he dropped 60 in the same week that Karl Anthony Towns, I think Karl Anthony Towns dropped it on like the night before, dropped 60 on the Spurs.
I forgot about that.
On, I think, 19 to 37 shooting. But he had a bunch of threes as well. And he chipped in 17 rebounds.
The 3-point champion.
Exactly. Yeah. He's really locked that shot down for himself. But then Kyrie and KD, I believe I heard this correctly. So if I'm wrong, Marvelous, check me on this. That Kyrie and KD were the first teammates to go 50 and 50 in consecutive games.
They literally are splitting it 50-50.
Yeah. Well, they went 60-53, but in consecutive games on their schedules.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. And then you had, within the last week and a half or 2 weeks, LeBron went for 56 and then 50 in the last 2 weeks. So it's like,
in the same week. Oh, you're talking about bookending on with the Nets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you're seeing some like those. I mean, guys, it is not easy to get 30 points in a game, let alone 56 or 60. This is unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, I was just looking at the highlights and I was looking at Kyrie. And I gotta be honest, like I'm thinking, man, it might be something to this unvaccinated. Like he might got me want to be devaccinated.
Can you take this out of me, please?
Yeah, I want to be devaccinated. And I'm just because you're looking at his hair and you're like, okay, he put the Dr. Sebi diet or whatever he on.
His hair looks dry.
It does look dry.
It needs like some lustrous pink oil.
At a minimum, some TCB,
something like the stuff like like even like VO5, something like your grandmother used.
VO5.
They still make that?
Does anybody black ever use VO5? Especially no dude using.
But I'm just saying he needs oil.
I think he needs some type of oil or moisturizer. Yeah, I think. But
sulfur 80, that's straight old school.
Yo, no. Sam used to use that.
Oh, that's old school. My grandmother used to use sulfur 80.
Wow. But then I was like, yo, he should be the spokesman, like, because the unvaccinated or anti-vax movement, they don't have a good brand. Like,
no,
it's kind of kooky. Terrible. Like they got it's tinfoil hat guy. It's the Earth is flat guy, which is Kyrie. It's we didn't really go to the moon guy. It's a whole bunch of
the Earth, all of that.
Conspiracy theories. Yeah. But he is going for 60.
Yeah,
and he could be the spokesman for the whole movement, and he could have all y'all. I mean, hey, look, he got me thinking about getting the vax sucked out, like how they be sucking the venom out. Like when you hear, I
always thought sucking the venom out was weird. I'd be like, man, he might just have to die.
He might.
Like if you relying on me to suck the venom out, you probably not gonna make it.
No, I agree.
Because I'm not gonna suck the venom out you.
You ain't gonna suck the venom.
I'm not gonna. Nah, it got him.
So if your wife got bit by a black,
my wife's different. I'm talking about like I'm there with like a man. Like I'm not sucking the venom out no man.
You ain't saving his life.
Nah, he not gonna make it.
Well, yeah, I gotta admit, I'd be like, oh damn, man, you got bit by what?
Yeah, you.
Oh
what?
Lord,
nah, you suck the venom out. I'm good.
What is your relationship like with Christ?
Yeah, are you good?
Yeah, have you found? You confess with your mouth that the Lord is your
Just
Savior?
say it with me right now, because you don't have much time.
Hey, you starting to stiffen up on me, dog. You need to come on with it. Can't talk now. You stiffening up.
Don't you die on me. Don't you go dying on me.
Oh, damn, that venom moving fast.
It go quick. Anyway, no, but to your point, Kyrie's going crazy. KD's playing extremely well. One of the things I noticed with Kyrie, Kyrie's played 19 games.
And he looked like it. He looked fresh.
You're getting to my point.
43% from three, a career high, man.
Yeah, he's playing amazing because he's super well rested. He's played 19 games where everybody else has like 65 games under their belt. He's played 19. Here's a crazy thing. They have 13 games left. 9 of them are at home.
Ooh.
One of the 3 on the road are at the Garden. He only can play in 3 more regular season games.
So y'all better enjoy.
So
by the time they get to the play-in, they're gonna rip right through. And then they're gonna that mandate's got to be lifted at some point.
Unless the mandate is lifted.
Yeah.
Unless the mandate is lifted, but it does present an interesting problem because depending on where they fall, they may not get a home game. So if they're playing with Ben, I don't know if I want to play basketball, Simmons, even if I don't even know if I'm KD, if I think he's even going to show up. But the only chance they have is Kyrie playing it, and I don't know when Kyrie's going to play at home.
Yeah.
It's a real dilemma because like the play-in is like 1 game.
Right. Yeah,
it's 2 games if you are the higher seed.
Now, I don't know what they're. Well, right now they're sitting at what, the 9 or 8.
That's a good question.
Look it up. But I think here's what I think.
If they keep winning,
that's my point.
Yeah, they just keep winning.
Yep, I think they're going to get into that 8th seed. It's a 7th seed. I think they're going to get into that.
I think they're solidly there. I think there's even an outside chance they can get to 6.
I'm looking it up now.
But it would require Cleveland to have some slippage.
Okay, Brooklyn is at, so you got to get into the 6th seed. So Brooklyn,
they 3 games back at the 6th seed.
They are 4.
4 games back.
4 games behind Cleveland.
Yeah, well, Cleveland played the Clippers the other night and went to overtime.
Yeah,
and it would have been a nice game for them to gain if they could have Clippers lost in overtime.
In the East, the top 10 spots, the lowest I'm looking at as far as in the last 10 has been 4 and 6. So everybody is at least 4 and 6 or better in their last 10.
Yeah.
So everybody's playing decent basketball.
Yeah, like 500. So you're not really going to gain unless you're playing like 750 basketball, which I think like Brooklyn's won 3 straight.
Yeah. 3 straight.
So they got to go on a run.
And but we know,
and it's possible.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, anytime there are these players, and we talk about it from time to time. There are these players that any given night. I mean, you look at LeBron when they beat Golden State. You know, you got KD. In any given night, you know they can beat anybody in the league. Yeah. And so when you have, would you say how many games left? 13.
13 for some, 14 for others.
So if you just have KD, I would expect them to go at a minimum 4 and 6. At a minimum, you know, but it wouldn't surprise me if they went. Well, you said 13.
They have 13 games.
So it wouldn't surprise me if they went 7 and 6, 6 and 7. And I think that keeps them at a minimum in the play-in. But they can mess around and go 10 and 3.
Yeah, I think they got to be looking to go 10 and 3.
You know, and so if that happens, and I don't want the Nets. I don't want the teams that have been bit by injury. And what's going on with Kyrie and the vaccine. I don't want, even though that's a self-inflicted you know, and I don't want to say injury, but a situation.
It's a self-choice. It's an individual choice.
It's a choice. I think that, you know, I want to see the best guys playing, and I want them in the playoffs.
Yeah, especially if we get if we're able to get a Brooklyn Philly first round.
Oh my gosh.
Or Brooklyn Milwaukee first round.
Get your popcorn.
That's gonna be hype.
Yeah, that's gonna be super hype.
I don't think Philly wants any part of that.
Nah, nobody wants to see Brooklyn with the 2-man crew.
Yeah,
you know, nobody wants to see that dynamic duo, especially the way that they've been heating up. And then Kyrie obviously has got fresh legs and is gonna have fresh legs for if they go all the way to the
he's
finals.
good. Yeah, he's good. He's
gonna be taking games off in between if they don't lift the mandate, so he's still gonna be rested.
Yeah,
and if they lift it, he's still gonna be rested.
Yeah, it just puts a lot of pressure on KD on the road games.
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry, on the home games.
Yes, it does. Yeah, that's true.
A lot of pressure, and you saw it, but he was up to it. Man, that performance when he dropped 50 against the Knicks was really outstanding. In that it was a lot of clutch shooting. He had a big dagger three, and he made all his foul shots down the stretch, and they were doubling him. He was coming across half court. They were doubling him. He was giving it up and then working to get it back and creating shots. I mean, he's just a gifted offensive player.
So,
and that particular day, he didn't have the last 2 games they haven't had Seth.
So to your point, right, when you start talking about, and this is like obviously one of the knocks that I had on him joining Golden State, when you're the sole guy to drop 50, you have to do that, right? You got to fight through, they're doubling you, then you got to go through 3 or 4 screens, pop out. That's a lot of energy and a lot of minutes expended. So I really hope, I don't want to see them fall short due to personnel issues. I would like for Kyrie to be on the floor. You know, I've always been consistent with that. I want to see the best guys healthy, and I understand that you just can't guarantee that, particularly with those 2 guys. I mean, they stay.
Yeah, they haven't played a lot together. And I'll be honest with you, I don't necessarily love the sets that they run. Like, it's like a lot of like, you take them, I'll take them. That's what we're seeing.
And maybe that's what Kyrie was saying. Well, we really don't have a coach.
Yeah, but that's cool when you're playing the Knicks and the Magic.
Yeah, and the Charlotte.
Yeah, that's not going to help you when you get against a good defensive team like Milwaukee or Philly. They beat the brakes off Philly though.
Any other guys.
They went into Philly and that was a game with a lot of energy around it, and they took them apart.
Harden took a big fat dump as he always does. In big, huge spots.
I don't like to put that on Harden. I like Harden, even though he left the Nets. I like Harden, but he did not do anything to dispel his lack of being able to perform in big games.
When they were up, was it 2-3 on the Warriors?
Yeah.
When Chris Paul got
hurt, he couldn't take over.
He wasn't able to close them out on his home court.
Yeah, there's 2 games in a row he couldn't close them out.
That's right. Yeah. So, and speaking of James Harden,
well, I think. One of the things that bothers people about James, because I have this conversation with my brother all the time because he thinks James is not a hard worker, which I know is not true. He works very hard on his game, but he also be in these streets. He likes to go out. He likes the nightlife. He likes the scrippers. He likes scrippers.
I mean, what's not to like?
But I'm saying what great athletes have, particularly, and you know this because you have a son that's playing basketball at a high level and playing with other kids that are going D1, the work that kids are putting in to get these very high-paying jobs. When you see, 5 years, 240 and all this, they're not just passing this money out. This money is going to the elite of the elite. And the guys who have that have a very structured, disciplined lifestyle.
Right.
They eat the right things. They train the right ways. I mean, part of the reason that LeBron is able to play till 37 and about on the brink of winning a scoring title at 37, which is unreal, is because he takes care of himself in a way that, like, you look at like a Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley and the guys from that era, Michael was allegedly smoking 3 or 4 cigars. I mean, you saw the video of him smoking
before the game,
cigars on the way to the game, eating red
in the locker room,
eating a lot of steak and drinking, and then playing ball. And it's amazing that he could ball the way he did, but that is not taking care of your body.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, when you look at Harden, you look at all the times that he's come up short. And I just, the clip just recently come out where he talked about getting a call from, I think, Meek Mill and Lil Baby, and while he was still in Houston, and come to the studio, hear our new material. He was there and left from there and went straight to practice. And it's not, and it wasn't like he had a game. He went straight to practice. Right. But the point, though, is the prep that it takes and the focus that it takes to win at a high level in the NBA, that's not reflective of that. And right. And so now what you're starting to see, at least for me anyway, and then you look at when they got blown out recently by Brooklyn, he was in the club with Lil Baby again, I believe it was, and you start to look at, like, generally, and the reason why they got blown out, part of the main reason was because of his performance. I mean, I think he was like 3 for 17 or... Yeah,
well, I mean, nobody really talks about it, but Kyrie locked him up. And so you go, okay. Which is what they said was happening in practice. One of the reasons that he wanted to get out of there, because they would go one-on-one, and Kyrie was like relentless and shit talking.
So you go, okay. You look at that, and you look at, you look at it. You look at a guy like, you look at the guys. So LeBron, like you talked about. You look at Michael Jordan. You can say whatever you want about his drinking and eating habits. You look at these guys. These guys have been locked in during the season. That's why they've been able to win at a high level. Harden seems to be infatuated with the music. He's like starting to rap now. He's got some material that he's recorded. Mike ain't got no rap album.
Mike would have a jazz album.
Magic ain't had no rap album. Mm-mm. LeBron ain't got no rap album. None of these guys. Look at the guys these guys. KD ain't got no rap.
LeBron loves music.
He ain't
he's always up on the music, but it doesn't affect.
He A&R 2 Chainz.
The discipline. The discipline of how he goes about his career.
You look at just put it all. Look at his beard though. When you don't want a player with a beard like that.
I knew something was coming. I knew you would go get him.
I'm just saying.
Get him.
Look how he's when you have a beard like a Black Thought looking beard. Like a beard just walking around You talking
about Black Thought from the Roots?
Yeah. The beard, that beard just shows.
What did Black Thought do to you?
No, I'm just saying that they have other stuff on their mind outside of, winning.
Yeah, they're
basketball
they're artists. Yeah,
he's an artist. I think that going out and having drinks with James Harden would be fantastic, because he's good. I bet you he could talk to you about a myriad of different subjects. Right. With Mike, I think we could probably talk about girls and basketball. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think that on some level you have to be able to compart. That's the thing that drives you crazy about Kyrie.
Yeah.
What he just showed us last night was a masterpiece. Right. It was a virtuoso performance, and then it won't surprise me next week that he's like, I need to take a week off. Well, on top of games that I already don't play.
Listen, and I hate to be this guy all the time, back in my day, but I grew up, and this is not one of those legendary stories. This really happened. Ronnie Lott had crushed his finger in a game, and he had the opportunity to have a pin. I think I might have the story a little wrong, but to have it corrected through surgery, and he would be out for 8 weeks, or he could cut the top of his pinky off and be out 4 weeks or 3 weeks. And he chose to get some finger cut off.
So when you see his finger missing, when you run up on Ronnie.
So he could play sooner, because he really wanted to win.
Yeah.
There are certain guys that, as a fan, because I'm only speaking from a fan's perspective, it just seemed like they don't want to win. I feel like LeBron wants to win. I feel like KD wants to win. I feel like Steph wants to win. I feel like Klay Thompson, who's battled serious injuries to get back. You could see, when he had 39 the other night, when he was doing an interview, how passionate he was about being back and putting on a performance like that. There's guys that really want to win, and then there's guys that just like really being popular in the NBA. They fit.
Well, yeah.
They fashion. They like all of the things that come along with the game.
And that's very real. When you out on the town and you got $300-400 million in the bank account, and you are still one of the best players in the world, which James Harden is.
Top 10, top 15, whatever.
You can't be mad and be like, hey man, that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Winning the championship would be great. But,
And now you're handpicking the cities that you want to go to, because, you look at Harden, once he got out of OKC, I want to go to Houston, which is the fourth or fifth largest market in the country. Then I want to go to Brooklyn, second largest market in the country. And now you in Philly, Like, these are fun cities to be in. Like, this is like good nightlife.
Great nightlife, yes. But I mean, you know, the nightlife is exquisite when you got nine figures.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't have to tell y'all. Nobody's naive. We all know what the basketball player means to the community in terms of status and stature. And then when you showing up with Lil Baby and your favorite rapper, it's nothing but good times, and everybody's there to help you have a good time, and you got the money to keep the party going as long as you want it to go. Listen, James Harden can ball, and like I said, I've never been one to try to hang the choker thing on him, but he went to Philly, forced his way to Philly. They're gonna have to make a deep run. I mean, it's ring or bust.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Right?
It's been, well, I mean, you think about where they were last year, right? First place in the East, in surprising loss to the Hawks, and now you look at them making a blockbuster deal for James Harden.
And gave up a lot.
You gave up Andre Drummond, Seth. I mean, we all know the terms of the deal and the particular players that were swapped.
And 2 firsts.
So you look at that, and that is and you get James Harden at this age with that contract. What else are you expecting? Yeah. You're expecting, particularly a guy who can score the way that he can score. But it's just, I'm not, and I want to make sure I'm drawing a distinction. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I would do it any differently than James. I'm just simply saying that it takes more to win a championship and win on a consistent basis.
It would matter to you more.
It might.
No, because you want to win.
I do want to win. Yes, I do want to win. I want to, and I want to win at everything.
I think what you're saying, if you allow me to remix your statement, you're saying you see how it could happen.
I do.
Because we all would get pulled in by that.
Yeah.
What that means. But as an athlete, there's still that point, and I've never played at that level, and only very few people know what it's like to put on an NBA uniform. But at some point, it's basketball.
Well, and
the money that you have in the bank can't save you when LeBron's playing downhill coming at you.
And to your point, so okay, if we all have 9 figures, which they all do.
Most of them do.
Okay, so we're talking about elite, his peers.
Yeah.
So if you all have 9 figures and everybody can literally create their environment, when and whenever and however they want, then if that's all equal, then what's going to separate me? And I would think how I'm busting your ass on the court. Because I want all of this.
Rings and things.
But I do want the rings and things. I want to be living in the effing lap of luxury with my jury. With my jury on. I think that here's the thing. I may be able to stomach it a little bit better if I'm giving it everything I have.
Right.
But if you out here, after losses, and particularly an embarrassing loss, it's not just any loss, the embarrassing loss. It's like Urban Meyer when he didn't fly back with the Jaguars and he went to his bar and was dancing with the girl. And
he wasn't dancing. She was dancing.
She was giving it to him.
Yeah,
and let's not act like he ain't probably hit. I mean, you don't dance like that with somebody and then don't hit, especially if you Urban Meyer. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I mean, that was there for him.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
she was there for him.
What you gonna just you have a nice evening?
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, you freaking Urban Meyer.
Thank you for brushing up against my midsection.
I'm brushing all up against my meat in my bar. You gonna dance on me like that in my bar, and I ain't finna smash back in? I got man, please. Hey, can you unlock the office, please, darling?
And then you can go.
Yeah, you get the bar back. Unlock that. And you go in and handle that biz. I mean, what else you doing? Anyway, so I feel like that would be the part of me that I would like to, because it ain't like he don't have the ability. We've seen when he, particularly last year when he was running the point, I text you this. I told my son this. I said he's the best point guard in the league. That's how I felt
at that time. Yeah.
Yes, being able to, his passing ability is second to none,
especially to athletic bigs, because he has a real knack for getting the ball up around the rim so those guys can go up and get it. They don't have to come down and maneuver. He's giving it to them up.
So do you think that he can, this dog can learn a new trick? Do you think that he can change his spots this late? What is he, 33? Do you think that he can? It doesn't seem, because after you force your way into a deal like that and get there, and then you play your former team, and it's not that you lost, but it's the way that you lost, and then you go out. to kick it. And then that story comes out in Houston with the backdrop of that. It all seemed to be like, bro, you really could take a leave. You take a leave the
I don't think I think it's too many guys like Greek Freak. Greek Freak don't do nothing. He look at his body. You could look at the way he plays. He just go to work. Then he go home to his wife and his kids.
And it mean more to him. He comes from the streets.
It means
he come from the Greek streets.
But it means so much that he don't get distracted.
Yeah. Or his other.
I think it means something to KD. I think it means something to there's certain players that he has to go through that it means so much to KD that KD don't go to the barbershop.
At all,
ever,
and he can, and his barbershop could be in his house.
It can come to him. He's like, no, don't.
He can have a live-in barber.
Don't you cut my hair?
No, don't you do that.
Just
don't you put them clippers?
You just leave.
No, leave mine looking like alopecia, whatever. Like you can leave it. Just leave it, and he don't be getting no lotion. No. KD just be like, all right, I'm at the gym.
I'm like, getting shots up.
He looked like he practiced at the boys club. Like it don't look like he being nothing fly, nothing. He just a tall hooper. Yeah. That's pretty much all I do. And that's that.
Yeah, and he has every right to kind of be a little prima donna-ish about it, but he's not. He's a blue collar guy.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah, he's a blue collar guy. I'm gonna tell you, Steph Curry's a blue collar guy. You know, we know who the blue collar guys are, and you ain't got to be brown, dark skinned to be a blue collar guy. Yeah. Curry is light and got light eyes, but he's a lunch pail guy.
No, and he'll bring it to you.
Oh man,
the 48 minutes.
The NBA ain't letting dudes just in there. Ain't no dogs.
And they're not just passing out money like that to those guys.
And you think about this too. To piggyback, I guess we can put a button on this. You look, but it's reflected in Harden's appearance, and not just the beard, but his weight. Yeah, you know, you could tell there's a lack of discipline there when it comes to his diet. Yeah, and you can see that okay, he's 6'7". He can jump. Obviously he can elevate with the best of them. I mean, he's in the NBA. Yeah. So that speaks to that point. And if he would just take care of his diet a little bit more, just do half of what LeBron's doing. Yeah. I believe that he could take his game. He
got that Opus One physique. He got
what is that? Sommelier? What do you call that thing? The wine taster.
Yeah, he got.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
The sommelier.
Yeah,
he looks like he likes.
He could talk to you about some wine.
But see, I think that's where things change for Carmelo too, because
wings and wine.
Because I think Carmelo is one of those guys that changed his diet, and he was able to elongate his career, because like Carmelo's still getting checks, but he was out the game.
He was out the game.
And he did what he had to do to get back in the game. And I give him a lot of credit for that.
But it speaks to Carmelo. Like when he joined the Trailblazers, I said, all right, well, there's their they booked their first round loss out the playoffs. I mean, it's just guaranteed. I mean, Carmelo's only made it out of the first round one time in his whole career. And then I should have known when he joined the Lakers that he was going to be the reason.
He was not the reason. But I will say this about the Lakers before we close out the NBA talk. I've heard a couple things. I've heard Kendrick Perkins ask the question, should LeBron shut it down to preserve himself a little bit, or should he go for the scoring title? Which would, and I think I heard Skip Bayless say this, so I'm crediting the sources. Is it the feather? Because that's a feather in your cap to be a 37-year-old.
Oh yeah.
Scoring champ. What do you see as not a Laker fan, but a LeBron fan? Where do you place the value on preserving? Because I think we're having a real conversation about next year at this point. I don't think we're having a real conversation about this year. Or are you still holding out hope that AD comes back and they go on the run of all time?
Well, yes. To answer your question, yes. But from a realistic standpoint, obviously I don't think that that's going to happen. But I think if you're LeBron, and until you're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, you have to keep playing.
Or do you manage minutes? Are you going out there maxing his minutes? I don't think you can. Trying to win games that are ultimately not going to get you out of the play-in, and then if you do get into the play-in, you're getting Golden State or Phoenix.
Right, and I think I just think that if you are LeBron James, you're the best basketball player in the world. You go, okay, In that, of course, I'm sure people are hearing that and going, "Oh no, it's KD."
No, he's the best player in the world. There's no arguing that.
And that's what I'm saying.
That's his title.
But you're still arguably the best player in the world. Well, to me, he's the best player in the world. But if you have that confidence in yourself, if you're the best, and you're still alive, I think you just keep swinging until they take you out. And I think, and then you have Anthony Davis over there, and you're going, man, if he could just stay healthy, he did it 2 years ago. You're trying to all you're doing is, at least when you're playing at that level, and your approach to probably life is the glass is always half full. If not, I can do this, and you don't get to that level without that's the determination and that belief. And so I think you got to keep swinging until you're mathematically eliminated, just like when they did before they won the championship, when they got mathematically eliminated, he did shut it down. And I believe that until that happens, but the play-in's added. And the credit to the NBA and the commissioner, I always forget. I always want to call him Mike Adam Silver for some reason, which was the SEC commissioner. But but anyway, I think that you keep going.
Yeah, I think it's
you're in the playoffs. You're in the play. It just so happens
you have an opportunity. Yeah. You have a legitimate puncher's chance.
And they won the play-in last year, and then KD. AD gets hurt.
Yeah,
and then
that's when he saw the three rims and he shot the one at the middle. Super lame. When LeBron hit that 3-point dagger and it was like, I was dizzy. I couldn't see. It was 3 rims. I shot the one in the middle.
Hey, that's the old Rocky.
Yeah. Where have I ever heard that before? Here's the thing though. Here's the X factor. He's on borrowed time.
Why is it borrowed though?
Because we're already in unprecedented territory.
It is.
For his body.
But you could say that about Tom Brady, right? He's on borrowed time, but he'll be 45 when the season starts this year. And you go, okay, well, it's unprecedented for to be 44 years old and be the best. And you look at LeBron and he's 37.
He'll be 38 in December of the next.
And you're leading the league in scoring, and you go, what about this? What about this tells you is going to stop?
Well, because there's a couple factors to that. They're 10 games under 500. So him being able to push through and get points is easier to do on a bad team. You know that, like I know that. They're at a point right now where he's got to get 50-ish for them to have a chance to win.
I mean, the last couple wins.
But literally,
he had to get.
He literally had to get 56 for them to win by 6. Or whatever they won.
They needed the whole half a nickel.
They needed all of them.
Not half a nickel, the whole nickel.
Yeah.
Not half a nickel. That's 25. Anyway.
And I don't think that, obviously, that's not sustainable for any player, let alone one with that many miles on his legs. The other thing is it's cost him on defense. He's I think 179th in defensive win shares, which is super low for him. He's usually much higher.
Been one of the best defenders ever. Yeah, but I mean, and then you can't have the whole thing. You gotta get
exactly. So it's coming, but and then he also leads the league in turnovers since the All-Star break.
That's a good stat. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got to credit again Skip Bayless and the fine staff over at Fox Sports.
No, you should have just kept that.
No, I can't do that. You can't do that. That's lame when you try to remix other people's stuff and claim it for your own.
Known.
Nah, I think Marvelous knows. Marvelous Williams knows everything. Mike's place. I don't want to get in trouble with those guys.
Y'all need to we need y'all to stay on with us for that. We need that.
But so and then I know these things, and I've said this too. These things are not passing the eye test. LeBron's as playing the 5 is not traveling down all the time. He's not getting back on defense all the time.
Out-rebounded by 19.
21.
21 the other night against their last matchup against, was it Toronto?
Toronto, yeah. No, they're getting killed on the boards. Dwight Howard, I guess, left the team for some personal reasons or something like that. So they don't even have him when they do need a stronger presence.
No, they got the number 35.
I don't even know who he is.
Dark-skinned brother with the...
I saw him. I didn't know who he was. I figured he came up from
that team. Where he come from?
Yeah. But no, so it's like, I don't think this team is going anywhere. When I looked at the schedule, they have 14 games left. All but 2 are against teams that are going to be in the playoffs. all but two. There's only two games that are gimme games. There's Oklahoma City, and the other one is the Wizards, who beat them. And they got to go to D.C. Their next.
But that was one of the games where he dropped 56.
No, not the Wizards.
It was the Wizards.
They beat the Wizards?
Yeah,
I thought the Wizards beat
you
them.
remember LeBron hit the three, and
oh, right.
Yeah.
You're right. My mistake, because they were showing, like, Kuzma was showing so much love and so much admiration. I mean, he traded you, bro.
He traded you. But you got a ring, though.
I guess maybe he was hugging him for the ring. Thank you for that ring, boss.
Appreciate it.
But so they got to go to D.C. They got 6 of their next 7 on the road. All games they could lose.
And then, that elevation ain't good for that knee.
Mm-mm. So at some point, do you preserve a little bit of him for next year when you might be able to retool the team and make a run like a Brady in Tampa Bay type run? Like, all right, if it all ended right here, let's try to go all out.
Okay.
Is there? That's a real question.
I can answer.
That's not just a hater question.
So the first, it wasn't posed like that. Sure. So I answered it one way, which is from LeBron's perspective,
right? Because
if you're him, if I'm him, I'm gonna keep swinging.
Yeah, legacy.
But if I don't know, the GM, Pelinka, Genie, whoever, I would shut it down because the run would be the most miraculous run of all time. Yeah. And of course, if you're LeBron, you're like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. But if I'm, the Lakers brass, yeah, I gear it down and I get ready to package, if I can, Russell and AD, and I try to bring in, obviously some better players.
Dame or somebody.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, Dame, Bradley, Beal.
Who could give you I ain't always there on Beal like that.
Eric Gordon. What I'm saying is, but that's a better player. That's all I'm saying.
No, he's a better player, but I don't know if he's a winning player.
Well,
he gets a lot of stuff going on losing teams.
Okay, I like Bradley Beal a lot, and I love him. Well, I rarely play him in DFS because he's mostly just a scorer.
Yeah,
but he's a really good on-ball defender. I told you I think he's been playing out of place. I do think he's a point guard, and I think he plays better when he's running the one. But the point is, though, you bring in an Eric Gordon. You bring in, if they got Eric Gordon and then they got Dame Lillard and LeBron, and you bring in a couple of extra pieces, that anyway. That's
who are your bigs if you get rid of AD?
Well, you bring in, you develop guys, right? So, you look at a guy like Evan Mobley who came out of nowhere, or Jared Allen, guys like that. You can find
Evan Mobley did not come out of nowhere.
Well, but most people don't know who he is, though. You know what I mean?
Well, he was a number 2. Was he the number 2 pick in the draft?
I think it was Cade. Cade Cunningham was first. I don't think he was the second. But the point is, though,
I mean, he was up there, though.
Yeah, he was up. But I asked that about Josh Giddey. You was like, he's a lottery pick. You're like, nobody know about no Josh Giddey.
I didn't know Josh Giddey. I didn't know Josh Giddey.
Now he's the youngest guy to ever record a triple-double.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's got. Sorry, we don't get to talk about Josh Giddey. If y'all get a chance, he's hurt now, but check out OKC.
Josh
Giddey is a small forward who plays like he got some real maturity to his game. Great passer. Anyway, so. I would, yes. If you're asking me, yeah, I would, because I'm like, man, I ain't trying to do all that, and then I don't want to mess around and you tear something or hurt something.
And that's the other thing too. It's like
I need you healthy during the off season.
Exactly. No, because you don't want to get him hurt.
Yeah,
you don't get because we don't know what it takes LeBron to play at this level.
Right.
In terms of prep, in terms of recovery.
You hear all about all of that after they retire. I was getting my knee drained twice a week.
Exactly. Yeah. So we don't even know what it takes, and then you don't want him to get a real injury.
Correct. And all of that. And then see with AD, obviously you don't mind as much because the injury is
coming no matter
right around the corner. But
and even when you go to the championship that they won, part of that is because he didn't have to play a full schedule.
Oh, I mean, totally. I don't want to say that's obvious, but I think it's fairly obvious that.
But when you ask him to go 82, it's kind of like, well, which of the 50 games is he going to be available for?
Well, if he could just,
you know what I mean? Like, can I pick my 50 ahead of time?
Yeah. Can I go ahead and I want some blackout dates?
Yeah, seriously, because you want to have AD at this time of the year, but you don't want to be in a play-in either.
No,
you know what I'm saying? So,
no.
Anyways,
how many games are they out of the 6th spot? Or
too many.
So
they're 2.5, 3 games out of not being in the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. They go on the road and drop 7 straight. It's a wrap.
So you low key, like I'm saying, not you, but if you're the Laker brass, you're low key hoping that they just go ahead and get eliminated.
Well,
so that you don't have to worry about LeBron trying to play. Yeah, they're 2 games.
They're 2 games out of being
and New Orleans. If Zion get up off his rear end, they might be able to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're
nowhere near 6.
No, they're 11 games out of the 6th spot.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. Denver ain't giving that up.
Nope.
Denver ain't giving that up.
Yeah. We could keep going talking NBA. I do want to, as we get towards the end of the show, I want to talk about, one of the shortest retirements of all time.
I think Brett Favre was a little shorter.
Was it shorter?
I don't know. It feels like it.
This felt like he was like, no, I'm just playing. Like, this one felt, so we're talking about Tom Brady. By this time, it's old news, but it's happened since the last time we recorded.
It happened Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the 24-hour sports news cycle, it's almost like an old story now.
Sure.
But he's back, saying he's with Tampa. Guys are coming back. They're trying to figure out. They got to figure out how to get that team back to a championship level. They got to figure out Godwin, because I think they had him on the tag last year. I don't think he'll want to be on the tag again. They got to get a deal for him, and they just
signed Russell Gage, the one flanker that we had.
The one we had.
Yeah, they just signed, and then as fate would have it, Brady comes back.
Brady comes back into the division. So what's your take on, because I think, and I don't know if this is totally substantiated, but I think there's a little buzz about the fact that he saw what LeBron did with the big 56 and said, I'm coming back.
And that, well, okay, that's fun. That's fun for the water cooler and to think,
That's more plausible than people getting on the internet talking about his kids were getting on his nerves and his wife was nagging him.
He's in the carpool line. No,
yeah.
And then another thing about that is y'all act like he wasn't at the crib at this time. You know what this is like to be at the house at this time every year?
Facts.
This ain't the first time he's been at the house.
Football players have a lot of off time.
He's like literally at the house every time this year since he started playing football.
Yeah.
Like even in like
all the way till minus 2 4-day camps, all the way till July.
Yes. Yeah. So that didn't surprise him.
Yeah.
I think, but for me, like, I don't think, okay, he may have seen that and been, that may have pressed.
Been a factor.
Yeah. That may have pressed up or that may have pushed the time of his unretirement up a little bit. But I don't think that LeBron doing anything. I think he was going to come back. He's going to come back. This is a big decision. I think he was going to come back regardless. And you think about a guy, like, it's not many people get to say, walking the earth, that they're the best at anything. There are people who are good at things.
LeBron can't say it. Not to ever do it.
But Tom Brady can say, but I'm talking about, I'm not talking
real GOAT status.
No, I'm not talking about GOAT status. I'm talking about this year, he was the best quarterback in the league. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like first in yards, first in completions, first.
But he's the coldest to ever do it.
Well, exactly.
He's literally could change his name to the coldest.
But even if he didn't do any of that last year, he would be the greatest. But what I'm saying is he was the best in the league last year. So you're the best quarterback right now playing in the league, better than Pat Mahomes, better than Matthew Stafford, better than, statistically speaking.
Yeah.
And
he threw for like 5,000 yards?
He threw for 5,316 yards.
Yeah.
And
I'm not quite sure how Aaron Rodgers won the MVP, but go ahead.
And the next closest was 300 yards behind him.
Yeah.
Like a whole game.
A whole football
game.
Yeah.
So I think a few things happened. This is me. I think that, I do believe that he thought about it for a second, and you think about, you want to go out on top, but man, you're still the best. You came like basically a Hail Mary, the Cooper Cup away from.
That was not a Hail Mary. Are you playing with me, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A Hail Mary throw, but they should have won that game.
Yeah.
That
was a bad defensive call.
Sure. Well, and then how do you let the best receiver in the league, that's the one guy you can't let get deep. You can let anybody else get deep.
I said this a few episodes ago. You bracket coverage him. They blitzed his man and left him man up on a safety.
And Staff,
with the game on the line.
Staff, the way that, he's been playing his whole career, sees the mismatch and dumps it down.
If you got Mitch Trubisky, you can do that because Mitch can't get him the ball.
So
but not with staff.
So then you think about this as well, right? He was the least sack quarterback in the league of guys who played 17 games. Mm-hmm. There was some other guys who played 15 who actually had the same amount of sacks. Mm-hmm. But so he wasn't getting hit.
No.
So if
he uses the rules to his advantage.
I got the best line in the league as far as sacks are concerned, pass blocking. I still have Mike Evans. I still have, probably Godwin.
Yeah, they'll get Godwin. They'll get Godwin done.
And so, I think that, he just walked across the mirror and he's like, man, is that Tom Brady? Wait a minute, I'm Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I'm Tom Brady. I
think part of the reason, and I think it's the same as what we were talking about with LeBron a little bit. We don't know what it takes for him to get to this place in terms of just the sacrifices made as an athlete. And then the avoidance of a real injury. Like he's gone, 22 years?
And we know
with one
his diet.
Major injury.
We know his diet is on some real monk, and so he's taking care of his body, to your point.
Yes, but he hasn't had the head trauma. He hasn't had, that we know of. He might be thinking, he was thinking about that, and now he's willing to risk it. Because we look at guys all the time. We were talking about, offline, we were talking about Deion, who, for the most part, like Deion didn't really mix it up, didn't really get into a lot of contact and stuff like that, but still has a real life injury.
Sure.
Like that's now turned into real life things. Like Shannon Sharp, a guy who is a absolute physical specimen, 2 hip replacements. You know what I mean? So there is a price that as fans we watch these guys play, and they are modern day gladiators, and we sometimes don't understand and respect what they have to go through to get out there and play and to entertain us, because they're entertaining us with their bodies and they're getting compensated well, but not as well as baseball players and not as well as basketball players and not as well as golfers and certain elite tennis players. Like they are working in a different way for that money. So I hope, I've never been a Patriot fan or a big Tom Brady fan for that matter, because he went to Michigan and I'm a Notre Dame guy. But I want him to be able to write the end of his story, because he is the greatest to ever do it in the NFL as a quarterback. And I want him to be able to write the story as he sees fit. And he's earned that. So if he wants to retire and come back 15, 20 times, he has earned the right to create his own exit exactly how it is, no matter how clunky and wonky it might look to people on the outside.
Bill Belichick is, in his, I believe it's 7 seasons without Tom Brady, has won 47% of his games.
And there you have it. Another team that's about to win 47% or less of their games is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who decided that Mitch Trubisky is a good transitional quarterback. They paid him backup money. He's gonna rob the Rooneys for $14 million over the next 2 years. He's gonna stick them up.
How much was the deal?
2 years, $14 million.
Okay.
But I think they have an option to get out of it. They should get out of it now. Like, if anybody can hear me, Mike Tomlin, get out of it now. I've talked to a lot of, I don't understand. Okay. So my nephew from Chicago called me, Anthony. He actually hit me in a chat on Facebook. Yeah, Tony. He is like the biggest Trubisky stan, and there's so many Trubisky stans. I just want somebody to get in the comments and explain to me why y'all like this guy. Like, what did he do to make y'all like him? It's like he's like everybody's All-American. Like, what did he do? Like, and one thing that he wrote to me said, I respect his courage and commitment.
You got to respect the courage.
What's courageous about robbing the Rooneys of $14 million?
Hey, look.
What's courageous about that?
He ain't robbing nobody. That's the first thing. Okay, TB10.
When they pay you
TB10,
and you can't live up to what they paying you for.
TB, that ain't no robbery. Okay, look, I was, this was a head scratcher for me as well. But as I got to thinking about it, I said, man, maybe this could work. And okay, so you look at the team that, how things ended in Chicago.
He was on Buffalo last year.
I'm saying, yeah, but he was in Buffalo for how many seasons?
Just one.
Just one season. Okay. So you look at how things ended in Chicago. I mean, he took them to the playoffs, 2 years out of what? How many? 5 or 4?
4.
4 years. So half the time. You look at the situation, he wasn't even drafted by Nagy, right? And so
drafted by who?
He wasn't drafted by Nagy, right?
No,
Nagy came in.
Drafted him.
Right.
The same GM.
Right, but Nagy wasn't the coach.
Nagy wasn't the coach.
Right, Nagy wasn't the coach. So you have that working, I guess theoretically against you, and you look at. I don't think that this.
I don't think that's necessarily against you. Go ahead.
I don't think the team that he was a part of, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, was as good or is as good as the one he's inheriting in Pittsburgh. And they just added an O lineman today. And you got a defense.
They added an O lineman from the Bears who was bad. He was part of the worst. They added James Daniels. James Daniels was the second best lineman on a line that everybody said sucked.
So they added the second best lineman from the Bears. So that's
I was like, what are y'all doing?
And then you look at Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Najee on the saxophone.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Najee's a very nice saxophone player. I like what you did there. I've always liked Najee.
And then you have he got a defense that's led the league in sacks for I believe 5 years straight. I think that you'll see him have more success than I'm not willing to go on record and say, he's going to throw for X amount of yards or touchdowns, but I do believe he'll probably have the best year of his career in Pittsburgh this coming up season. And you have a staff that actually wanted him.
Okay, a couple quick things.
Break it down. Tear my.
I'm not gonna tear it down because everybody's entitled to their opinion,
even though it's wrong. Wrong opinion.
No. I'm saying we don't know yet.
Yeah,
we gotta let it play out.
We gotta just let it all.
We gotta let it all play
out because we don't know.
No, but what I will say is, Nagy chose the job knowing that was the quarterback. So it wasn't if he didn't want the quarterback, he would have just been like, "I'm good."
Yeah, but I mean, how many other jobs you gonna be able to get?
They were killing it. I'm sure he had plenty of options.
Come on and get this job. Come on and get this work.
But to my point is, he wasn't throwing some guy that he didn't know what he was getting. They had a guy that they took above two other really good guys, and that's never not going to be part of the story. And it's like, I am very, very big on, whether we talking about LeBron or we talking about Brady or we talking about anybody, your resume is your resume. And part of his resume is you went before two of the top quarterbacks in the game.
But how is that all his resume is what he's done in the league?
Yeah, but when you crash and burn, we're measuring whether or not you're a bust against what the other guys that went beyond you did. We can define bust based on the fact that other people should have gone in front of you and you have not lived up to your draft position. You don't get to just walk away from that. I had my nephew tell me he went to Buffalo and improved his game. How, Sway? He hasn't played. He didn't play in Buffalo.
He did not play in Buffalo.
So we have no idea if he's improved or not. Here's what we know he's good at. This is the fact. He was the number 1 rated passer on balls with less than 10 air yards.
That's something.
That's nothing.
That's something. Number 1 has something.
With a 71% completion. And I always make this comment. I make it to you all the time.
That's high.
People always say Nagy didn't do anything in the offense to adjust to his skill set. We threw the most passes behind the line of scrimmage and 5 yards of the line of scrimmage in the time that he was in Chicago. That's an adjustment for an offense that actually enjoys getting the ball down the field. When you look at what they do in Kansas City, they modified that because he can't throw to the left, which they'll find out. Chase Claypool will find out the hard way because he's going to throw like split finger fastballs down into the left that are going to be in the dirt, and he can't throw deep with accuracy. So when everybody's looking at the numbers and go, oh, he did this, he did that, Tariq Cohen bubble screens, 10 air yards. That's his sweet spot.
2 playoff appearances, athletic quarterback, Pro Bowl appearance. That's what Pittsburgh is getting. I think that the arrow is pointing up, and I think you have reason for optimism.
The arrow is pointing up for who?
For Pittsburgh Steelers and the fans.
No.
Yes, I think so.
No.
I think so, and I think.
Okay, let's lock this in because the arrow is not pointing up.
The arrow is pointing up.
And if anything, the arrow is pointing at best. The arrow's pointing sideways, and I'm gonna tell you why. Before we close this show out, I asked somebody who is a huge Trubisky guy. I said, "What's the comp?" I said, "At his best, who is Trubisky in this league?" And she said she's a sports talk person in Jacksonville.
Okay.
This conversation happened on Twitter.
Okay.
And she goes, "I don't know." I think that's telling.
You gotta have something better than that.
But no, if you find yourself like stumping for Mitch Trubisky, that's what happens. Like there is no real comp. You know what the comp is? On the best case, it's Kirk Cousins.
You think so?
I mean, because you want to
he's
think
more
about
mobile than Kurt, and when he's
more mobile than Kurt,
when he making plays with his feet, them teams be winning.
They
do.
He's 29
what he won,
and 21.
Like 6-7 straight.
He's 29 and 21 in his career.
He won every game he started 2 years ago.
He's 29 and 21.
What I'm saying? Every game he started. Don't forget TB10, boy.
He's 29 and 21 overall, and that came off of
what is he? Sorry, what is
29 and 21, and the 8-game cushion that he has there. All happened in 2018 when we were 12-4.
Hey, that's part of it, though. That's part of it.
Yeah, but he also was playing with the number 2 defense that year.
That's part of it. You got to be able to take advantage of it.
It's in the resume.
And then he coming to another great
But
defense.
the next 3 years, he was a 500 quarterback.
And look, he coming with Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is an excellent coach.
Mike Tomlin is an intimidating coach, and I think Mitch Trubisky got a little pussy in him. And at the end of the day, Mike's gonna scare the shit out of him.
I don't even know.
That's the truth.
I don't even. That was okay.
That's the truth.
That caught me off guard.
Can you imagine when he comes to the sideline and Mike put that James Evans look on him and he gonna pee down his leg, man. This is a disaster. This is a disaster.
I think why you literally
Pittsburgh
slapping the table.
I said what I said.
Hey, look, I think the arrow is pointing up. Okay. I think that the division is, what's the division? Who's in there with Pittsburgh?
It's Joe Burrow.
Okay. Joe Burrow.
It's Lamar Jackson.
And
what I believe is about to be Deshaun Watson.
No way. Deshaun coming to the Falcons.
Well, and the last thing that was on my list to talk about is, I don't know if you saw Baker Mayfield's like
farewell tweet.
Yeah. I think he knows he's on the way out because I think Deshaun, they might be a little deal. So if you got a division with Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, and who the other guy said? Joe Burrow, who went to the Super Bowl.
And Mitch.
Disaster!
Mitch. Hey, Mitch.
Money Mitch.
TB10, I believe in you, man.
TB10.
TB10. Hey, TB10.
You're disrespecting TB12 by saying TB. And it's not even his initials, bro.
It's his Trubisky.
It's empty pockets. Mitch Trubisky, empty pockets.
Trubisky.
I don't get no money. I'm the second lowest paid starter in the league.
Hey, but he gonna
at
put up
$7 million per, and I still feel like the Steelers are getting robbed.
Well, there you have it.
So
Mitch.
We out. No. I'm hot. I'm Mark Stewart. Please check into our YouTube. Tell your friends to subscribe. Hit the like. Hit the notification.
Hey, what you gonna do if they run off? They start out like 8-0.
I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna take it. What am I say?
All right.
If he balls, he balls. But here's the thing. He has to ball to the level of the guys that went after him. That's what I argued. Getting him to mediocrity is not a win.
What do you mean?
Getting him to decency. See, everybody who argues for him is like, well, he ain't that bad. He's athletic. He can run a little bit. You went second overall. You went ahead of Patrick Mahomes. You went ahead of Deshaun Watson. In order for us to forget that, you got to play better than those guys.
And I think that
you can't get to mediocrity and then call me and go, I told you so. Don't call me with no mediocre quarterback play.
I haven't called you with that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I don't even have a second thing.
Don't call me then.
I think that's all the things that we have for the show.
That's all we got. We signing off. I'm Mark Stewart. This is Rob Hunter. This is Stat Lines Matter, and we hate Mitch Trubisky around here. Bye.
Bad boy. I ain't come for games. Say it to my face. Say it to my face. I ain't come for games. Say it to my face. Say it to my face.